You know, it daunts me that I could probably just record a video for the week here. Going at the crude, rough, pouring down, and then, oh, I don't know, edit later. Oh, Miss Steam, you're already here. Wow, you must have been paying attention. Maybe I won't try to record in silence then. Hello, how are you this evening? Oh dear, the chat isn't loading properly. Always something. Miss Steam, are you reading me still? Ooh. Please. Well, I surely did it right. No, two watching now. That's one of those me. Well, whoever's there, please do remember to say hi. And this is, once again, a very impromptu, more or less spontaneous live stream. We have the Ghost Poop podcast going on presently, although if you really want to watch that secondhand, I'm not really sure. I will, of course, welcome all feedback on this point. Oh, emotional demons taking over every inch of your personality. Was it something you ate? Or is it just a annual sort of affair? Sympathies in any case. I'm sure that was no cakewalk. It has been an incredibly busy week here. I don't know about you all, or you too, possibly just you, specifically Miss Team. By the way, I'm going to be having a little live stream Saturday. I already have a guest lined up, some guy claiming to be Lightning. I'm expecting that to go very, very weird and possibly brief if my suspicions pan out. But, you know, if it, however it goes, perhaps the Saturday after that you'd be interested in guest appearing. You know, cover the SP file, same as with the Miss Midnight stream. As it happens, we could even in fact go over a webcomic. Quite possibly one of the worst I've personally ever seen. If it's still there, and it probably is, because last I checked, the creator's Patreon was doing quite well. Kimchi Cuddles. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. I'm sure you'll see what I'm getting at in short order. Let's see, I should probably start the intro and we can see what's going on with the podcast. Oh, please do let me know what the audio levels are. I was aware last time I attempted this live stream that I had the audio too high on Tevin Davis. I don't believe we've met before. Well, welcome to the stream, however randomly. We're about to start the live stream. I'm just going to, probably listen absently to the Ghost Street podcast as we look for things to probably mostly boggle at. And let's get started with that now.
Arketer Labs.
This can be right. Yes, Miss Team, do take a look at Kimchi Cuddles, if it's still there. I'm sure you can do a search for it. It's a, polyamory webcomic. Apparently the creator feels that polyamory is basically a right, and as of when I was brought to awareness of the comic, they were writing webcomics about how, their significant other didn't fully appreciate how much they needed to be able to sleep with any random person at will. Any technical difficulty so far? Oh, so Steam recommended you. Well, no pressure. On me, that is. No pressure. I don't think I'll be terribly disappointed. Certainly there's been a lot that happened over the last week that's worth laughing at. And I understand the Black Panther movie is out soon enough, and that's sure to be fantastic. Not necessarily the movie, but the reactions to it. At this point, given the fact that it apparently is, I don't know, the movie equivalent to the Bible, only more popular. It seems as if it might have put a bit too much weight on itself. Especially for the nation of Wakanda, which was... apparently it's indicative of how Africa would have panned out if it weren't for white people. Or white people, as is the popular term among people who aren't racist and for reasons. The Ghost Poop podcast is apparently what? Oh, over? Really? Never mind. I wish I'd gotten started earlier. It's been a bit of a slow week for me in general. Something always keeps popping up. We have no? Have you ever had a live stream loaded up, and then you say you click away and you come back to it and find that it's been swapped out for an old episode?
Carry on, love. In your suggested videos there, mate. I can't. Jeremy Carroll says put your dick on their...
I see the podcast is presently discussing the hot coil challenge, which is where people are dared to heat up the stovetop and then apply their arm to it. And the only video known of someone actually doing this, the podcast is about to play here. Let's see if I can zoom it up a bit.
There's not even that many comments. Someone to masturbate to before bed. That's a conversation. This is good. She looks like a toilet brush. Just listen. Woman created the hashtag saggy boobs matter movement, and people are here for it. Is there nothing that they won't create a movement out of? No.
Oh, yes, this is even more new. Apparently there's a saggy boobs movement. Miss Steam, are you signing up for that one? Going to, maybe stretch them out? Get all trendy?
What is going on with that top right one? No. I mean,
Swap out your bra for a reasonably sized hammock?
boob, right? If it's not knocking around your kneecaps, it's not a saggy boob. Yeah. Unless you can tuck it in your socks, it doesn't really count. Exactly. Now, those are the ones that need a movement. We'll run
Rotten Tomatoes condemns plan to flood Black Panther with negative reviews. Well, why would they expect there to be a flood of negative reviews? I suppose if you go out on Twitter and tell everyone that leaving a negative review is racist, and you absolutely cannot do it without being a horrible bastard, man, baby, racist person. Why the hell wouldn't they expect to be flooded with negative reviews? I want to give it a negative review without having seen it first. I'm not going to, of course. I believe the movie should be allowed to stand or fall flat on its face on its own merits.
Someone like Dankula thinks of a movie, or someone like Geek Enthusiast.
Yeah. Do you imagine Dankula there being like, I went to see Black Panther. It's full of black people.
I want to see.
Therein lies the problem. I went to the cinema and I couldn't find my wallet.
Well, never say never, Miss Steam. Gravity is a pernicious foe, but yeah, I don't see the point in taking pride in it. See, this has been something that's bothered me for a long time, and in fact, we can probably meet the ghost poo people over this. I've had an issue with identity for a while now. I don't know about you two or anyone else watching at this point, or possibly watching later, in theory. But identity seems to become a really trendy buzzword these days, and it's really, really stupid. Because people keep basing their identities on the stupidest things imaginable. And apparently that is all they are. Like, you'll see these people on Twitter who have to stress that they're bisexual, queer, two-spirit, demikind. What the hell that means. And if you don't address them by these terms, then you're erasing their identity. Which means that they apparently don't have any other identity to spare. That's a weak damn identity. And truly, when it comes to race and skin color, the extremes are no less stupid. People who build entire movements out of skin color, sex. But the skin color thing, it baffles me especially, like, and sexual preference for that matter. Your skin color, your sexual preference, these things were supposedly things you were born with. Taking any special pride in them makes as much sense as being proud of your nostrils. Two nostrils, proud! Or your hair color, which I suppose in the case of gingers is sort of the case. Whatever happened to just being you, without having to curate a collection of buzzwords to more properly cordon yourself off from greater humanity? And Miss Team, I should hope that you do survive past 40. It's possible to age quite well. Nothing wrong with 40. And as we progress, the ability to preserve ourselves also improves. So, who knows, we will find a cure for sagging breasts as well. And well, Miss Team, your identity of whiny cunt and pervert, I have to say, is one you don't see on Twitter very often. So, points for originality, however, hopefully you don't require pronouns. Oh dear. Other things to discuss. Oh yes, the Tide Pod thing. Hold on, I think we've probably got a worthwhile article on that. Apparently there's been a legal push against Tide Pods, that people have been asked to push forth legislation to obligate Tide to make their Tide Pods look less tasty. Have any of you heard about that? Blood here, no pronouns. Let's see, Tide Pods, here we go. Eyewitness News. Lawmakers make Tide Pods look less appetizing. Gentlemen, I never read the article, but this really quite offends me. If you've been following the Tide Pod challenge, you know that apparently a lot of people, adult people, or something approaching it, with no excuse in regards to legit mental retardation, have been injuring and killing themselves by eating Tide Pods. And I'm sorry, that is just... If you kill yourself with a Tide Pod, no one should have the slightest bit of sympathy for you. Albany, New York. To New York, state lawmakers are calling for a state law to require new packaging for laundry detergent pods following the dangerous trend of people eating the toxic items. State Senator Brad Hoylman and Assemblywoman Arvella Simotas plan to detail the proposal in Albany, both are Democrats from New York City. They said the state could lessen the risk of poisonings by prohibiting packaging that makes the pods look like candy. But the packaging has never lied about what these pods are. The Tide Pods challenge is in a trend showing people putting small detergent pods in their mouths and posting videos eating them, often resulting in hospitalizations. Procter & Gamble, which owns Tide, recently launched a campaign to warn people away from eating the pods. But I'm sorry, when you make it clear that these Tide Pods will straight up kill you, and people keep eating them, you really need to just say, go hog wild and thank you for your efforts to improve humanity. Tide should start advertising that their Tide Pods don't only cleanse the laundry pool, but the gene pool too. Meanwhile, I do respect all these innovative makers who came out with the Tide Pod donuts. No, we're not watching ads. But can you ponder that? These people had children they lovingly raised from infancy, and somehow failed so utterly that their children have died from eating a Tide Pod. It's tragic for a parent to lose a child at that point. You've got to blame yourself justly to some degree. You seem a rational person wouldn't be doing that. And Snuffy is comparatively much healthier. Let's see. I would like to encourage any hench people I have in the future, if I ever put agents out there to, you know, push companies to start making their laundry detergent and laundry aids much, much tastier looking. Oh, by the way, I don't know, odds are... Well, let's see. Is it just you and me getting a Steam, or do we still have people there? There's a way to check that, I think. Ooh, stream health yellow. That's probably not a good sign. I probably should have advertised this more in advance, but I had to do this right now while I had the momentum at all. I have been exhausted. We have new projects, and there's been one problem or the other at the emissary facility. Oh, did you? Yes, there's technically 2 watching, but I'm not sure if anyone's listening at this point. Still, I'm glad to have any audience, and that does include you without a doubt. But I still am just baffled by this. Apparently there's a educational agency in Canada that's pushing for social justice begins with me. I pulled off this image from the first page of their website, and apparently they're looking to erase anti-Semitism, ageism, heteronormality, sexism, racism, classism, ableism, and prejudice. There are at least 3 things that should not be there, or in any sort of rational list, like ableism, for example. Do you understand what the core of ableism is? It's discriminating or being discriminating because you can do something that someone else can't. If you do something that someone else can't, you're being ableist. Meaning that if you can see something, then you're being ableist to blind people. And if we institute this as sort of a policy for the human race, that means we would all race each other to cripple ourselves to best match the most crippled among us. And our society harbors some very crippled people. mentally, physically, and emotionally. Ableism is not a thing that should be. However, that wasn't what really alarmed me about this. They want to tackle ageism, and I can pretty much guarantee you they're not talking about being nice to old people. If only. Certainly most cultures on Earth could stand to respect their elders just a touch more. Not too much, mind you, because idiots come in all ages, but generally if you've survived to old age, then you've done something right on some level. Or at least you're just lucky and someone could stand to rub some of that luck off of you. Oh god, that sounded terrible. Just in regard to the elderly. Don't rub off the elderly. Just, you can absorb their luck by hanging around them, give it a shot. I'm sure they could use the company, but you don't want to go too far with it. Ageism, though. Ageism. Every time I've heard the term ageism said with a straight face by someone, then roughly 2 to 3 sentences later, if not in advance, they've proven to be someone you desperately hope is both on an FBI watch list and legally prohibited from, again, nearing any school or playground, and yet people actually still say ageism with a straight face. There's a reason children are not able to consent. The children have to be protected. But it sure is popular among NAMBLA people to recast that as being discriminatory against children. And heteronormality. What the hell's wrong with heteronormality? That's just biology, damn it. And everyone should be quite glad for it, even if you are gay or lesbian. If everyone goes exclusively gay, then the human race dies out. I'm sure we can go on with cloning, but it's probably not going to work out in the long run. Oh, by the way, Miss Team, did you by chance hear about the woman in, I believe it was somewhere in India perhaps, who believes that apparently the human race can be perpetuated by women sleeping with dogs? She seems to think that dogs can impregnate a woman and result in a human baby. No, yes, bisexual at least keeps the race going, so I can't argue with you there. Black Panther is alt-right, but this is not what I was looking for. Let's see. I really should have made a video on my proper channel today. I do apologize for that. Oh, Commander! Welcome! I see Lacey has stolen your heart. I can understand that. Lacey is very, very charming. Darlings and such. Sometimes I do wonder what they see in Roy. But I'm sure Roy wonders that too. By the way, Commander, are they actually a couple? I've never been sure on that. Or just the best of friends? You don't have to answer that, and certainly I'd hate for you to get into trouble with them. I'm just jealous of the affection they've shown you. Yes, I was trying to show, by the way, Commander, presently I was trying to show them where, a rather novel person was insisting that, dogs could be used to further the human race. Oh dear, was this before Saturday even? Oh, this is funny. If you ever have a chance, by the way... Best friends, okay. The best of friends. I'm not sure why I asked in hindsight. I was just wondering. Perhaps I wanted to know if Lacey was free. But, you know, I'm not going to encroach on you, Commander. I mean, if you want to go that route, it's all available. I'm not really in the market anyway. I live in a discreet facility under quarantine for God knows how much longer left. Well, getting back to the topic at hand, something you might want to check out. If you want to see some of the worst memes in existence, there's an account called a.silver-memes and gifs. They were very active during the whole memo release scenario because they were, well, threatened. They released their own memo, of course, using, you know, a screenshot of a blank memo complete with 2 receivers, name, from sender's name, date, subject memo, and message. Oh! Roy and Lacey, brother and sister. Yeah, that sounds about right. But I found this among many horrible memes, by the way. If you want to check out this account, it is just a wellspring of terrible memes, usually using glitter effects. But what's so startled me is that they put up this memo talking about how Trump stole the election, Hillary won, Trump rigged with Russian hackers paid by the Kremlin because Trump promised to relay sanctions, signed the truth. And I just thought, what person with a functioning brain reads a so-called meme like this and goes, yes, I totally believe this, the truth person. Perhaps it's funnier to me than it should be. Where is that bloody video? I didn't plan this out, by the way. If there is a live stream you'd rather watch instead, please do let me know. I think I've corrected the audio this time. But I have at least confirmed one very important thing, and that is the text is legible across the board. Bear, formerly known as Mike from Canmore. Hello and welcome. We're just, you know, browsing Twitter because I need to get more comfortable with being on live stream regularly. It's going pretty well. I think I should have lined up specific tweets just in case the Ghost Poo podcast proved rather boring, as has been the case. Not now. 1 second. Yes? Of course I did. The hell do you mean? Oh. Okay, so maybe I did. Yes, so they know what it looks like. Big freaking whoop zero. You and I both know that's within the fraction of the... You're watching live stream, just complain about this. Is there really nothing more important going on? Yes, but what are the odds of another clone? But if they do, they won't have the back. It looks like it, and you just run the... No, you're right, I shouldn't snap at you. Again, yes, what is the point of having a chief listen to them ever? Look, a cat's out of the bag now. I'm sure if the forest agency's got a picture of the ID badge, snapped a photo, and that's that. So now you don't have to worry about it anymore. I can just leave it on all the time. Yes. Noted. Thank you, Zero. Okay. I forgot to mute again, damn it. Right, sorry about that. I looked away from the screen. What did I miss? It might have been an old rotary phone. But it was nothing important. I just seem to have left my ID badge on. We had to print out new ones. There was an incident some time ago. I might mention this. It was part of why I was suspended, or those sort of thing of an aftermath. We had someone who looked very much like me trying to breach the facility. they were captured and dealt with. It's part of... It's a long story in short, so I was inclined to develop a ID badge, something that can be checked to confirm that it really is me. Although I'm the only one who knows where I am, so quite frankly, if it's coming from here, then they should have known already. It's silly. Anyhow, shall we watch a video maybe? We could always watch Suit Yourself on BitChute. Or do any of you have any videos you would like to share with the audience and myself? And DM me at will. I don't have Discord up presently, so that's not an option. I know. I will share the video that I traumatized Roy with. Would any of you like to see one of the worst Christian children's programming clips ever? Why, I suspect Miss Steam at least has already seen this before, because it's been around for a while. Ready? I hope so. Too bad. Here it is.
What? What is it?
Oh,
what do you see
no.
now? Is God going to tell us something again?
I think so, Andy. Oh, it's a dead baby bird.
Oh, that is sad.
Oh.
Oh, look at that. But you know something? I think God can speak to us through that little dead bird. You know why?
Why?
Because God says that He knows every time a little tiny bird dies and falls to the ground, and how much more He loves us and cares for us and takes care of the baby bird, and don't let those ants bite.
Yeah.
The ants are God provided too, so it would eat dead things and we wouldn't have dead things all over the earth. And so God thought of everything. But you know what He's saying about the baby bird? He loves the baby bird and He provided food for it. But He says, how much more I care about you more than even that little bird, because I provide everything for you and I love you. So God's speaking to us even through a little dead bird.
Okay, this is how you know someone is just mindlessly repeating rote things they think they're supposed to say. You know this because if they were thinking about the context of what they're saying with what they're pointing at, then they would realize that they were just sending the exact opposite message. Oh, God provides food for the little baby birds, except for this one right here. This one. This one's dead. God did not provide for this baby bird. But God so loves us. Well, if He let this baby bird die, what will He do for us? This does not paint a picture of a very kind, loving, forgiving, or, in fact, anything less than straight-up malevolent God, who is probably plotting to kill us all in really horrible, nasty ways. But let's see, we had a suggestion. Let's see, Flat Earth Man. Oh, this is going to hurt, isn't it? Flat Earth Man, the title was, Do You Believe We Really Went to the Moon? Is that it? This idiot. I still can't believe that. Flat Earth Man or Flat Earth Rocket Man? I'm missing someone here. Aha. Yep, this is going to hurt. I can tell that right now. It's, this one, I'm guessing? Very good. 6 minutes of pain. Conspiracy music guru.
You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Well, a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. That's the title of a video that I watched on YouTube. You can see astronauts hanging from wires, proving that astronauts and NASA are liars. They analyze photos and highlight mistakes with the moon landing missions. They show it was faked. You can see them faking the photos of Earth. They use a round window to fake the curve. That's suspicious, don't you think? Yeah, listen up. I watched a documentary called Astronauts Gone Wild. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin gets a little riled. All he was asking was to swear to God that he went to the moon, but he would not. He was faced with a moon landing denier. Had a chance to show that he ain't no liar, but Buzz decided to punch that dude just for asking him to swear if he went to the moon. That's suspicious.
Oh dear.
So, do you still believe we went to the moon? Do you still believe what they're telling you? Just connect the dots and pretty soon you'll find out what I found out too. But if you question this stuff, you'll be labeled a loon. You'll be called a conspiracy theory buffoon, but I don't care, man.
That's unfair to conspiracy theorists.
Because I know that we didn't go to the moon.
Why did you swear in the Bible that you walked on the moon? You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't.
And how about those moon rocks they gave to museums? And thousands of people did see them. But one museum took a closer look. They soon realized that something's afoot. The rock they were given turned out to be a fake. Just a piece of old wood, not a rock from space. Yeah, when God made the moon, he saw it was good, but apparently made it from petrified wood. Yeah, that's
It is, yes.
Listen up. In another museum sits an astronaut suit. Take a good look at the tread on the boot. It doesn't match up with the prints on the moon. And y'all still believe what they're telling you? Or how about that phone call that Nixon made to the moon that's 250,000 miles away? When I can't get a signal on my cell phone line, I guess phones were better in '69. Well, do you still believe we went to the moon? Do you still believe what they're telling you? Just connect the dots and pretty soon you'll find out what I found out too. But if you question this stuff, you'll be labeled a loon. You'll be called a conspiracy theory buffoon, but I don't care, man. I'm still gonna make this too, cause I know that we didn't go to the moon.
And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made from the White House.
Yeah, you went straight through those Van Allen belts. It wasn't a problem, right? Nothing was felt. But now you say it's a problem and you can't get through. This problem needs to be solved, according to you. But didn't you solve that problem back in '69 and you flew straight through them 5 more times? You wonder why I think it's fake when there are so many.
My sanity is hardy.
Like the telemetry data that's
But I think you were
all
concerned,
missing.
even though you're the one who subjected me to
13,000
this.
wheels, are you kidding? A giant leap for all mankind, but you
I will
lost the
remember
data
this.
and no one can find.
Not that I'm holding a grudge.
Come on, man, are you kidding? Do you still believe we went to the moon? Do you still believe what they're telling you? Just connect the dots and pretty soon you'll find out what I found out too. But if you question this stuff, you'll be labeled a loon. You'll be called a conspiracy theory buffoon,
Masons
but I
too.
don't care, man. I'm still gonna make this too, cause I know that you can't go. No, there's no blast crater from the lunar module. Probably because that thing is just a model. Or the flag that flutters with no atmosphere. Don't you think that's a bit queer? Intersecting shadows means another light source. Do I think it's fake? Yeah, of course. The whole thing was filmed on a Hollywood set. Directed by Kubrick is my best bet. It's so cool, we'd love to explore it, but we can't get past low Earth orbit. Do your research, people, I think you'll find. But NASA admits that a bunch of times. Listen.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is
Wow,
gonna
even
allow
has
us
a
to go
green
beyond
screen.
and hopefully take
Really make
humans
good
into the
use of it.
solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Who was that anyway? Okay. So, I'm kind of wondering how they push this still in the wake of Starman, for example. But if that wasn't enough... Oh dear. Flat Earthers are special. Very special, because... How do they hold that together in their heads? Everyone is susceptible to, No, I appreciate this man. I wish him well. I think he should keep his music career going. Clearly he has some talent on that point. After all, not everyone can be an expert on everything. He clearly hasn't let that stop him, though. Where do they think satellites come from, satellite photography comes from, and how is it not one of these flat earthers have seen fit to purchase a plane and just fly to the edge, maybe build a little castle out there, Castle Smug. Every one of their conspiracies is so easily disproved by observable reality that it's incredibly hard to believe that any of them are sincere about it. Mind you, the people who believe we didn't actually go to the moon, I've encountered that before. I've met some grown people who are actually quite intelligent who think that the whole thing was faked, but I'm sorry I don't quite buy it. They do seem to feel that they can't do it again? Who was that derpy-looking fellow who would go back to the moon in a nanosecond? Meanwhile, I think what they mean to say, if they weren't idiots who were unrelated to the program entirely, is that maybe NASA hasn't really gotten the funding it once used to. I believe getting the moon was a much higher priority when we were trying to beat the Russians there. Oh yes, no one wants to take the risks. But we have people who are in satellites, observably floating in zero gravity all the time. I assume they believe that's all being done on vomit comets, but people don't float in a vomit comet for quite as long as various NASA staff have. That's special. Hey, let's watch a counterpoint, shall we? 11 questions flat earthers are afraid to answer. This is only 8 minutes.
When I was little,
Okay, flat earthers.
YouTube is under the impression I'm in Finland, by the way.
he was the greatest samurai in the empire.
Subs were replying to the edge. That would imply the UN could do anything right.
131 lords. He was the greatest samurai in...
It's a bit of a slog. I can only take bullshit in small portions. And by the way, to those that keep telling me that this video was convincing, you know there are not 200 proofs on this list, right? Out of the first 52, there are only 20 separate concepts being put forth. For example, proof number 32 is, if gravity is so strong, birds and bugs shouldn't be able to fly. And 33 is, if gravity is so strong, fish shouldn't be able to swim.
What? What? I feel sorry for this man. In a few seconds, he's going to introduce me to two arguments from flat earthers that are so painfully stupid that it took a moment for them to register. There are apparently flat earthers who don't understand that gravity doesn't rule out flight, but that gravity would somehow rule out swimming. If things didn't work just because people didn't understand them, then we shall be blind for not understanding the mechanics of photonic light. And certainly all of these people should be. Commander, you asked, let's see, I want to bet that SpaceX can send people back there, but if they lose an astronaut, their reputation is pretty much destroyed. Yes, I believe that SpaceX could do it. They launched a Tesla car into space. Which, by the way, I'm sorry, at this point, I don't care what else Elon Musk has gotten into. As far as I'm concerned, that man's a personal hero now. Every touch was perfect, right up into the don't panic on the center console. But let's see what other incredibly crippling stupidity this poor man has been exposed to.
Those are the same concept. Variation of a theme is not a new proof. But anyway, I'm not here to discuss the merits of those proofs. But in going through these and reading the comments that Flat Earth proponents send me, I've noticed that the only support Flat Earthers have for their position comes in the form of claims against a round Earth. If the Earth is round, why this? If the Earth is round, why that? Posing a lot of questions for others, but not answering questions for themselves. So I've come up with a few simple questions that are thoroughly understood in the current round Earth heliocentric model of the solar system and the current understanding of the standard model of physics. These aren't complex gotcha questions that require a master's thesis to explain and can be answered in a few sentences by the accepted models. But I have yet to see anything from Flat Earth proponents that would answer these questions. You see, Flat Earthers want their model to supplant the globe model, the heliocentric model, and the standard model. In order to do that, it has to do three things. It has to have answers to all the questions that have already been answered by the current models. It has to answer them better than the current models. And it has to answer questions that the current models don't have answers for. So these are questions I've never seen answered by Flat Earthers. Many of them have never been asked to Flat Earthers as far as I know. This is a legitimate call for answers, and I would like to only see answers from those who support the Flat Earth concept. So don't just post back, because magic, just to troll them. I would like to see honest answers. I will not argue your points, although others might, but if something is unclear to me, I may ask for more information. Okay? Great. Here are my questions. Where is Venus right now? Back in June of 2012, I recorded the transit of Venus across the face.
Okay, I'm going to answer that for him right now. Most of them will be saying, I don't know. I will stress this because at this very moment, I'm not entirely sure where Venus is. I'll have to check with some people on that one. Elon Musk probably did do it despite Flat Earthers. Partially. Plus, it's just a really great idea. He has inspired a whole new generation, hopefully, to actually press to get off this planet, and I support that 100%. Anyone who's been paying attention to the news lately or the past several decades might recognize a certain need we have as a human species to maybe spread the species beyond the range of just the one globe.
sun. You can see the video here. This is 15 minutes of video sped up to 1 minute. I put eclipse filter glasses over the camera and caught it. According to the current model, Venus and Mercury have orbits within the orbit of the Earth and around the sun. So, periodically they pass between the Earth and the sun. Mercury will transit again in 2019. Where are Mercury and Venus right now? Why do the sun and moon rise and set the way they do? Both the sun and the moon trace paths across the sky, then disappear over the horizon, bottom edge first, then rise top edge first on the opposite horizon. They do this at different times for different viewers, and those times are in direct correlation to the longitude of the viewer on Earth. How does the flat Earth model explain this?
It doesn't. That's one of the many observable things. I don't think I can take any more flat Earth anything right now. Why does that be a flat Earth? If the Earth's real shape has been part of a massive conspiracy trying to hide the truth of a flat Earth from us, why would they bother to conceal a flat Earth? If the Earth was flat, then I think everyone would be quite happy, or at least bemused, with the thought of living on Discworld, as in, it has always been Discworld, and certainly, especially some of the things that have been in the media lately, one would think that that would now suddenly make great sense, that our very existence was written by Terry Pratchett. But otherwise, what is there to conceal? I'm inclined to think that if we have a shape of the Earth that isn't round, it's got to be something a lot more embarrassing than merely flat. Flat like a coin. You think Elon's genius, but his ideas like hyperloop are just not realizable? Yes, that is probably true, but his ideas could become realizable in time. Nothing can be done right now. It's hard to say he's entirely wrong, because you have to understand that Elon Musk is insanely wealthy and has access to all the really cool toys that us plebeians probably don't get to see very often. So maybe he knows something we don't. Or maybe he's just being overly optimistic. Certainly that's a possibility. I just hope that his agency's looking into the ethical creation of an AI to design robots that don't want to kill us all pays off. Because it's probably going to happen that AIs will take over in some way eventually. And at present, if that's just, I don't know... You know what, Commander A and B, that's right. Let's do a live stream about Elon Musk. Oh dear, this has already been going on for, how long? I've probably chafed some patiences already. Yes! Okay, we're not too bad. 7 minutes, and this will be a full hour. I probably don't want to stretch it too often than that, but I would like to promise you all who are listening, I will be doing live streams a lot more often tomorrow. At about, oh dear, what would be the time? I will have to twit out the correct time for time zones. I'm not sure what it is in CST at present, but I'll be having a guest Lightning on the live stream tomorrow to read an SCP file, and then I plan on quizzing them about if they are really what they say they are. I have my doubts. And I'm pretty sure that, well, the world being an ostrich egg is a lot more plausible than the world being flat. But, again, I wonder why they would bother to conceal that. I know. Let's go with one more Christian music video to close us out. Something very special. Why did I not have these open in advance? Here we go. These are all probably the same really god-awful song, but this one I think has the correct production quality. Yes, I'm most definitely in Finland, YouTube, thank you.
I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep.
And welcome, Vague Doctor. But I believe the tortoise theory meshes with flat Earth. They never really say what's under the flat Earth.
I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. I just wanna be a sheep.
Now for a bit of catharsis.
I wanna be a Pharisee. I don't wanna be a Pharisee. 'Cause they're not fair, you see. I don't wanna be a Pharisee. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I pray to the Lord.
This is my vengeance, Miss Steam.
I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I don't wanna be a Canaanite. I don't wanna be a Canaanite. 'Cause they raise Cain at night.
The Canaanites raised Canaanite. For most of us, I believe that that would be considered a plus, not a negative.
I don't wanna be a Canaanite. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba.
It's good to know my vengeance is paying off, because this is hurting me too.
I don't wanna be a Sadducee. I don't wanna be a Sadducee. 'Cause they're too sad, you see. I don't wanna be a Sadducee. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I don't wanna be a hypocrite. I don't wanna be a hypocrite. 'Cause they're not hip with it. I don't wanna be a hypocrite. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba. I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. I just wanna be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba.
It could be, yes. This technology that I've rigged up here is homegrown, as it were, and thus there are flaws, but I think you got my general sentiment. I don't really have much of a problem with Christian faith, and especially in the modern age. It's really calmed down quite a lot. I actually don't have a problem with the concept of God, but this particular music video, and like the one before that, oh dear. No one should want to be a sheep. I understand that in the Christian faith it was very appropriate and wholesome to picture God as some sort of shepherd and humanity as his flock, but to encourage children to want to be sheep to just sort of mindlessly follow, I don't think that was a very good idea. And I don't think it's a good idea today either, although it's still happening. People are often encouraging people to be sheep, just not in this particular faith so much anymore. Anyhow, thank you for the compliment, Commander AMB. Glad to see you, Dr. Vague Doctor. We'll have to have you on a guest live stream sometime. I'm feeling especially bold, but I have no idea if you have any set up for that. Also, you, Commander AMB, we'll have a live stream just to chat about Elon Musk and all the many interesting things he's said over the years. But for all of you, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you all in the chat some other time. Please feel free to recommend me to people, as Miss Steam did, which I am grateful for, even if I apparently wasn't to her recommended guest's preference, perhaps. One day, I will be mildly popular. Until next time, progress ostensibly continues.